Welcome to Bloomers in the Garden. I'm Len Schroeder.
And I'm Julio Zamora.
Merry Christmas, everybody. This past week, I went to Longwood Gardens right outside of Kennett Square, Pennsylvania, to see their holiday display, and I'll tell you all about it in our first segment.
Our feathered friends will need our help when the weather turns cold. We'll give you a quick primer in selecting the best seed and feeders in our second segment.
The clock is ticking, and you better get your Christmas shopping done. In our third segment, we have some great ideas for gifts for gardeners.
In our fourth segment, a listener called the Bloomers in the Garden hotline and asked about overwintering subtropical trees that were planted in the ground. She also asked about growing pigeon peas.
One of our favorite listeners, Harold from Staten Island, called the Bloomers in the Garden hotline. Harold's a carnivorous plant expert and asked our opinion about LED grow lights.
So stay tuned, and we'll be back right in the garden after these messages. Bloomers in the Garden is brought to you each week by Bloomers Home and Garden Center. Bloomers is an award-winning garden center just 20 minutes from Philadelphia. Bloomers has been providing expert advice turning brown thumbs green for over 30 years. At Bloomers, we want you to ask us every question, even if you think it's silly. We share information in a friendly, non-judgmental way that is meant to teach and spread the joy of gardening. Visit Bloomers Home and Garden Center in Washington Township, Gloucester County. For directions, go to bloomers.com, and we'll see you in the garden.
Hi, this is Len Schroeder from Bloomers in the Garden. Do you have a landscape, garden, or plant question? If so, call or text us using the Bloomers in the Garden hotline. Dial 609-685-1880. That's 609-685-1880. Don't be shy. We want to hear from you. Call or text us and let us know what problems you're facing. Let us know how we're doing. Call or text 609-685-1880. If we use your comment on the air, we'll send you a free Bloomers t-shirt. Call or text us at 609-685-1880. That's 609-685-1880. And we'll see you in the garden. Fertilome Succulent Potting Mix with EcoPeat is the perfect ready-to-use potting mix for all your succulents. Fertilome Succulent Potting Mix is a blend of sphagnum peat moss, perlite, and EcoPeat. EcoPeat is a natural wood fiber from peat bogs. When added to Fertilome peat moss, it produces a superior professional substrate with an exceptional ratio of air porosity and water holding capacity. Fertilome Succulent Potting Mix will ensure maximum drainage with ideal water retention. It's simply the best succulent mix on the market. Ask for Fertilome by name at your local garden center. Available at Daniel's Garden Center, Sumneytown Pike, Harleysville, Pennsylvania. Gasper's Home and Garden, 316 Tanyard Road, Richboro, PA. Church's Garden Center and Farms, Seashore Road, Cape May, New Jersey. Collegeville Do It Best, Ridge Pike, Collegeville, Pennsylvania. County Line Nursery, Harleysville Pike, Harleysville, Pennsylvania. You're listening to Bloomers in the Garden Radio. Listen anytime through your favorite podcast provider or hear us on the radio each weekend. Every Saturday morning, Bloomers in the Garden Radio is heard in Philadelphia and throughout the whole Delaware Valley, first at 8 a.m. on Talk 860 WWDB, and again at 9 a.m. on AM 800 WTMR. On Sunday at 8 a.m., we can be heard through the New York tri-state area on Classic Oldies, 1250 a.m. WMTR. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you in the garden.
Welcome back to Bloomers in the Garden. Well, everybody out there, if you haven't been to Longwood Gardens Christmas display, you still have time. Longwood's Christmas presentation extends to January 9th. So, Len, you were there Tuesday, weren't you?
I was.
Yeah.
You know, it was my first time there to see their Christmas display.
Wow.
You know, we're usually working.
I know.
Yeah,
That's right. Yeah. I'm glad you went.
Yeah, I'm glad I went.
Yeah.
You know, it was and it was a perfect night too.
Oh, was it?
And they have the display at night, but what's incredible are the amount of lights. They have like I think 500,000 lights.
500,000.
And that where if you go at night, you get to see them. And there's a fountain show. It's very, very cool.
Wow.
And that it was just a perfect night. Like I said, it was like crisp enough to say, you know what? It feels like it could snow at any time. And it it was not windy.
Right.
And that's what made it so good. There are lots and lots of people, so you have to get your tickets in advance. And actually, I'd like to say that, it's my idea, but it wasn't. Another couple asked us to go, and it was a really good time.
Let me ask you something. When was the last time that you had been there?
Oh, a couple of years.
Oh, yeah.
A couple of years. But I've never been there at Christmas.
Never at night.
No, it always
Never
was.
at night.
No, never at night. Never at night. But certainly, I was always during the growing season, so it was never at Christmas.
Right.
I had gone one time, and it was like late winter, early spring,
Right.
when everything was still dormant outside, and you went through inside. But it was all about outside.
Right.
Their theme this year, it was fire and ice, and
Nice.
the lighting was almost holographic in a way
Oh,
on
yeah.
some stand, and it was where it was entire trees. We're talking about 30, 40-foot trees from top to bottom lit. And I'm not talking about Christmas trees. I'm talking about deciduous trees.
Deciduous trees. Wow.
Like oaks and things like that, that they had all the way out to the tips of the branches. And I'm looking, I was like, those poor interns.
Yeah, that's right.
But,
Who's got that, going up the ladder thing?
right. But it led you along the path that leads to the fountains, and that where it reads, and then you end up back at the conservatory. But the outside stuff was spectacular.
Well,
And let me just say that there was this lit up tunnel that you would go through. It was about 200 foot long.
Uh-huh.
It was really,
Wow,
really cool.
That's impressive.
Yeah, it was like a little touch of Disney.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, it was really good. It's really
cool.
good. The fountain display was incredible to watch, and the show lasts for about 15 minutes, and then there's like a 5-minute break in between.
Right.
It's just so cool. It's just so
neat.
cool
That
because
is neat.
again, it's you see the lights around your neighborhood, but to
Right.
see them in orchestra and the fountain display, that it's timed with music.
Oh, it is? Oh.
Yeah.
What kind of music?
It's most, of course, Christmas music. What kind of question is that?
How about it's not rock? Oh, come on.
No. So, classical Christmas music. How's
okay.
that?
All right.
And that, it was definitely, if you're like looking for some Christmas spirit, they had it.
Yeah.
They had it.
That really started for you?
Yeah. Well, no. Mine started sometime last year around January, because that's when we started buying for Christmas
Is that what happened?
this year. It is waning in the last few months or the last few days, where you're worrying about what you're going to have left, what you're not going to have left.
Right.
So after doing everything outside, and everything's lit just enough so that you're comfortable walking, but not so lit that you can't. It takes away from the lit trees and such.
Sure.
So,
That's nice.
and it's a long path. It's not a short walk.
No?
So you better get your walking shoes on. You know? On the way out, I saw those scooters that you could rent, and I was thinking, it's like, so, but anyway, it was really, really nice, and it was nice to be outside.
Yeah.
And again, when the colder nights that we have now, it hasn't gotten real cold yet. It's not bitter yet.
No, it is.
So it's a great time, and it goes all the way through the 9th. But you
right.
have to buy your tickets in advance. They're sold out for the next,
No
I think,
kidding.
through Christmas.
Really?
Yeah.
And you got used through the, how?
You go to the Longwood, just look up at Longwood Gardens, and you'll find you can reserve your tickets, and you can buy your tickets there.
Oh, okay.
And you can have them on your phone. You just show them on your phone, and you go in.
Nice.
And it's centrally located. I mean, that's what's beautiful thing about where it's halfway between Washington and New York. So if you're wondering, those of us, that are from the New York City area and that area, that it's, you're about 120 miles.
Right.
So you're talking about 2.5 hour drive, but it's definitely worth it.
Worth it.
It's definitely worth it because, again, it's time tickets, so it's not overly crowded, and you get the benefit. And I haven't even talked about the conservatory yet.
Yeah.
The most impressive thing to me, this is going to sound crazy because it's yellow, they were yellow Rieger begonias with red poinsettias that would be periodically mixed in with them. Also, we talked about amaryllis last week.
Yes.
Amaryllis were well represented there.
No kidding.
Yep. So
How about that?
and it just is inside. It's as spectacular as ever. They had a sea of the winter rose poinsettias that looked great. I'll tell you a secret. I'm not really a big fan of the winter rose poinsettia, but seeing them there,
Yeah.
making me take a second
Take
look.
a second look, huh? How about that?
Now, one thing is that the Spectacular Light Show, and inside they had the organ room was blaring and it was all Christmased out, and it was like it was Christmas spirit everywhere.
Everywhere. Huh?
Everybody was polite and wanted you to have a good time. Merry Christmas and thanks for coming, and it was just a great time. It was a great time. But if you can't get it together
Right.
by the 9th, there is another garden. Now, Julio, we talked about the Garden Capital Passport.
That's right. We have, yeah.
Philadelphia area, and again, this extends, I think, 50 miles from Philadelphia, which includes parts of central New Jersey and other areas that are closer to our listening area, where the Garden Passport is 30 public gardens, historic landscapes, all within the 30 miles of Philadelphia. And the thing that I want to mention is that there is at the Grounds for Sculpture, which is close. I mean,
Yeah.
we're I guess it's Hamilton.
Yeah.
It's like it's a little north of Trenton.
Yeah, a little bit.
And that where they have something going on that started the end of November and it goes all the way to the end of February.
Wow, that's great.
And it's a synthesized video, projection, light and sound all through the outdoor gardens.
Amazing.
It is totally amazing.
Yeah.
That I had actually found one of the news stations did I think it was PH17 did a profile on it
Wow.
and shows. I mean, it is so cool because
is cool.
it's almost holographic on
It
some
is,
of them,
it
and they take the video and put it over top of the sculptures.
Yeah.
Very cool.
It
There's that lit up pathway, and we went there. Remember
went there, yeah.
all of the like really close together Acer rubrum, the maples
Maples, yeah.
that form that archway,
Sure, that was awesome.
all lit up.
Oh, wow.
All lit up,
That's
and
amazing.
each tree is lit up. So it's not just like a spotlight; it's
Yeah.
each tree is
Each
lit up,
tree, look at that.
and all of the different sculptures that they use. That again, it's not just spotlights on them; is that they have these holographic images where they change,
Huh.
where it could be like look like one shape, and then all of a sudden it twists and
Changes.
it's like mind bending. So
Bending. That's a good one.
and those of you guys looking for a place to bring a date,
Oh, that's the
both of these places.
one.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Perfect. If you want to look impressive, that's where you go.
How long did
Brett, you got that right? Okay. There you go. He's writing it down right now.
Yes,
There
he
you
is.
go. You might get that second date yet. Anyway,
Yeah. How long did you stay at the Longwoods?
6 weeks. No. It was about 2 hours.
Oh, yeah,
It
that's
was
nice.
2 hours,
That's
and
nice.
it seemed like 2 hours. Maybe it was longer.
Yeah.
To be honest with you,
Didn't-
I was
didn't
having a great time.
Yeah.
I
Look
was
at that.
enjoying the company that we were with, and
Sure.
it
That's
flew by.
That's
Like
nice.
we actually all said is like, this is it. But
This is it.
I mean, it was like the pathway.
Uh-huh.
It's long. It wasn't a short. The outdoor display is not a short little thing where you go around a couple hundred feet.
Sure.
It feels like a couple miles actually.
kidding.
So it is.
Probably was.
It's a lot to see.
Yeah.
We went there at about 7:30,
Right.
and of course it was dark, and there were lots of kids around, and the kids were
yeah.
just like, they're getting to that Christmas crazy right
that's
now.
good.
That they were pumped, and it was
Pumped
fun
up.
to see it through their eyes too.
Okay. That's good. I'm glad you went.
Yeah.
Isn't it amazing that we have these opportunities to go to and gardens that show all these beautiful
Oh yeah,
things?
between Philadelphia, if you go between New York and you go to Delaware, the amount of gardens that are here, like I'm going to see what's going on at Bartram Gardens. That's
Yeah.
one of our favorites because of the historic part of it. But I am definitely going to go to check out the night forums that's at the Grounds for Sculpture
That's
in Hamilton, New
amazing.
Jersey. And I suggest everybody take a look.
Right.
It's just it's a little weird,
Mhm.
but
Hey.
it's fun weird.
Yeah, it's an art. It's an art.
It is.
expression, right?
It exactly is.
That's right.
It is. All right, we've got to take a break, so we'll be right back right after this. Hi, this is Len Schroeder from Bloomers in the Garden. Do you have a landscape, garden, or plant question? If so, call or text us using the Bloomers in the Garden hotline. Dial 609-685-1880. That's 609-685-1880. Don't be shy. We want to hear from you. Call or text us and let us know what problems you're facing. Let us know how we're doing. Call or text 609-685-1880. If we use your comment on the air, we'll send you a free Bloomers t-shirt. Call or text us at 609-685-1880. That's 609-685-1880. And we'll see you in the garden. You know, some of our most frequent questions revolve around organic container gardening for houseplants, annuals, and of course, vegetables. Coast of Maine's Bar Harbor Blend Organic Potting Soil is a lightweight soil mixture made with salmon, blueberry, lobster, and other composts, as well as calcium and chitin-rich lobster shells, sphagnum peat, perlite, and kelp meal. It is a great soil. And Coast of Maine's Bar Harbor Organic Potting Soil is rich in organic material, creating lush, disease-resistant plants that require less watering, less feeding. Its rich, dark brown color provides the perfect balance between water retention and drainage needed for healthy plants. Coast of Maine's Bar Harbor Blend Organic Potting Soil is available at these local retailers.
Tony's Farm and Garden, Windsor, New Jersey. Espen Shades Garden Centers and Greenhouse, Lidditz, Pennsylvania. Pickering Valley Feed and Farm, Exton, Pennsylvania.
Your next houseplant is waiting for you in Bloomers Home and Garden Center's greenhouse. Bloomers recognizes that houseplant choices are as important to your interior decorating as the fabric on your couch. The right plant, paired with the perfect container, can bring a dynamic change to your home. A houseplant brings life to your world and connects your home's interior to the greater outdoors. Even a small succulent placed on your coffee table has a way of connecting your living room to the Amazon rainforest. How about an air plant in your kitchen? Looking for an indoor flowering plant to add color to your plant palette? Bloomers has a large revolving assortment of flowering beauties. From aglaonemas to ZZ plants, Bloomers Greenhouse is stocked with your next favorite indoor plant. Bloomers carries a large selection of pottery and containers to match your home's decor and make any of your plants more beautiful. Bloomers experts can help you care for your plants and have the fertilizer, insecticides, leaf shine, and specialty soils you need to grow healthy and happy indoor plants. Visit Bloomers Home and Garden Center's greenhouse and make every room in your home a living room. Visit bloomers.com for more information. That's bloomers.com, and we'll see you in the garden. You're listening to Bloomers in the Garden Radio. Listen anytime through your favorite podcast provider or hear us on the radio each weekend. Every Saturday morning, Bloomers in the Garden Radio is heard in Philadelphia and throughout the whole Delaware Valley, first at 8 a.m. on Talk 860 WWDB, and again at 9 a.m. on AM 800 WTMR. On Sunday at 8 a.m., we can be heard through the New York tri-state area on Classic Oldies, 1250 a.m. WMTR. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you in the garden. Welcome back to Bloomers in the Garden. Hey, before we start this next segment, I want to just say there are lots of the gardens open during the winter, and I just want you to look up americasgardencapital.org. That's americasgardencapital.org, and it will list all of those different gardens that are open during the winter, and it'll certainly list a link to the Grounds for Sculpture collection that we were just talking about. So again, that's americasgardencapital.org. Go there and you'll be amazed. You get like a little passport that I've got probably 10 entries in. And
wow,
I'm all proud of myself. I brought it out last night. Yes, I did. Could you stamp my thing, please?
Yes.
I don't know. Anyway, it's really cool, and it's absolutely cool for kids. All right, so it was cold, like I was saying, and it's going to continue to get cold. And right now, there are still like seed heads and things that the birds can feed on in the wild, but they are depleting quickly. So you're going to have to supplement our wild birds' natural seeds and berries with your own bird food. So those of you that don't know about feeding the birds, now's a perfect opportunity to get started because they're getting hungry and they work all day trying to just keep themselves warm enough and and that it's important that you feed the birds. So, Julio, do you have a bird feeder out?
I do.
You do?
Yes, I do.
Okay. Mine are out.
Good.
Empty.
What happened?
I feel so ashamed. I feel so ashamed. I need to bring some seed over, and that's the trick. Is I have. Where do you have your bird feeder?
In the backyard.
What's under it?
I have a couple of trees near it.
So you have it hanging from a tree?
No, no. I have it on a pole.
On a pole. So
Yes.
underneath it is grass, dirt.
Grass, yes. Grass.
Yes, grass.
Grass.
All right. So I have mine on my deck.
Oh, okay.
I'm pretty sure that you use a shell mix,
I do.
which means that the birds have to grab like say a sunflower seed, and they have to crack it open in order to get to that bird seed that's inside there. I do not want that because I don't want the shells all over my deck.
Yeah.
So what you've got to decide is if you're going to feed the birds, what do you want to do? If you can, usually the shell mixes that, even if it's just straight black oil sunflower, that they are pretty inexpensive. But I do not do that because everything I buy that's in my bag, okay, that usually it'll say something like a patio mix or it'll say a shellless mix, that everything that's in my bag they'll eat. They'll only eat what's inside the shells in your bag, so all the shells are left behind.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Do you have any field mice that come along? And
You probably do.
yeah. Do you have any mouse problems in your house?
Not yet.
There's a moose loose on the hoose?
Oh,
No?
Not yet.
No. Anyway, I watched a lot of Bugs Bunny growing
Oh,
up.
did you?
Anyway,
Oh, God.
that to me, I'd rather do a shellless mix for other reasons too. Like I'll just do straight shelled, and they call it, sometimes you'll see it where it's sunflower hearts or sunflower meats, and that I'll do that straight because it does attract the widest selection of birds. They all eat it, where sometimes in your mixes that they'll put in things that are filler to cheapen the mix. They'll lower the price but lower the quality at the same time. Isn't that true with anything?
That's true, yeah.
And they'll put in things like red Milo that the birds don't eat. I always think it's funny, not funny haha, but funny ironic,
Right.
that people say, oh, my birds love the seed I get from something club. Pick whatever you insert. It could be BJ's, Sam's, whatever.
Right.
And a lot of times it's because the birds scratch out all the stuff that they're not eating, and the people think that they're eating that, but they're actually trying to get to the good stuff, and it's usually the high-protein sunflower,
Right.
and they go through it like crazy.
Uh-huh.
And it's really what they're doing is they're not eating it. And then, again, the mouse is coming on the
Right,
bottom.
it is.
And if you have a lot of, like, mourning doves that coo on the bottom, do you have them?
I have them.
They're feeding off the ground because they don't never prop on a feeder.
No, they don't.
So consider using a straight seed, hulled seed, not the seed like shelled seed. Give it a try.
Yeah.
And that you'll find that you might even think that your birds aren't eating it because it lasts so long, but it's that every single seed is eaten in there as opposed to a shell mix.
Yeah,
Consider that.
Yep.
Consider that. And if you look on the back of the bag and you're looking for something that's the highest in protein you can find.
that's it. Beautiful.
All right. Julio,
Uh-huh.
what can you tell me about the backyard bird count?
Wow. I've never done it before, but I think it's pretty amazing that you can do it at home.
What is it?
It's
Do you know if you want to throw it back to me? I'll take it. Take a swing at it.
Yeah, it looks like you have to go on. Look, is it online?
Now, what you do is that you spend 15 minutes at your bird feeder during a certain time of the year. Now it's later in the season. It's going to be between February 18th and 21st. So I want you guys to all get prepared for it. And you don't have to go to a park. You don't have to go to the woods or the mountains or anything else. You just look out in your backyard. And again, a great exercise for kids to where you become the scientist. And what you do is you just look for 15 minutes, and it's 4 days, and you just are writing down what birds you see for that 15-minute period, and you submit them to Cornell, and that they plot them to try to get some idea of, like, are the bird populations going down or up? where are we as far as migration, everything from like global warming, for instance. If they find a migration pattern where all of a sudden there's this bird that usually is in a much colder or warmer climate, it determines what is going on. They also, it's like the canary in the coal mine. It's a lot of times it's the first thing that you notice when something's changing or there's something going on. And it's an easy thing to do. There is something called Merlin Bird Id. It's an app, and that can help you ID the bird. So, like, what's this crazy thing with the black and white feathers, and it looks little, and it looks kind of like a woodpecker, but it's not. It's a downy woodpecker. But that app will help you to determine what it is. It's fun to do. Certainly, kids love it, and that they'll learn things that they'll carry for life. And it's a whole idea of the citizen scientist, where a handful of scientists that are ornithologists can't be around the world, and this is done around the world. This isn't just the Northeast, or it is California to Maine. It is all around the world that this is being done, and that you can see the updates live on the Cornell Ornithology website. And that it'll show you where you can go on and you'll see that, all right, so what birds are being seen where, and you can see how that compares to your own observations.
Ooh,
it's all about data. It's all about data, and that there are groups that will do it. Mm-hmm. They're pretty organized. I mean, bird watchers, it kind of sounds weird and goofy, but I have gotten into the birds. I mean, my feeders may be empty today, but I have lots of seed heads for them to eat, okay? So I'm not starving the birds, but what I'm going to do is, like, this probably right at Christmas is when I start keeping my feeders full, and I keep them full all the way through into March. And honestly, you have different, when the fledglings are hatching, they're looking for territory, so they need a place to eat. So it keeps on going.
Yeah,
so
awesome.
It's something to look into, and again, you're looking for... It's called the backyard bird count. It is something that's been done for years and years and years. So I want you to get into it, take a look at it, see if you're willing to dedicate yourself to it. Mm-hmm. If you've got kids, this is a great way to get them involved, and they'll have fun, and they'll remember, they'll be the smart one saying, oh yeah, that's a northern red cardinal, or that's a downy woodpecker, or that's a cool. So again, all right, we're up against the break. We'll be right back right after this. Hi, this is Len Schroeder from Bloomers in the Garden. Do you have a landscape, garden, or plant question? If so, call or text us using the Bloomers in the Garden hotline. Dial 609-685-1880. That's 609-685-1880. Don't be shy. We want to hear from you. Call or text us and let us know what problems you're facing. Let us know how we're doing. Call or text 609-685-1880. If we use your comment on the air, we'll send you a free Bloomers t-shirt. Call or text us at 609-685-1880. That's 609-685-1880. And we'll see you in the garden. Fertilome Succulent Potting Mix with EcoPeat is the perfect ready-to-use potting mix for all your succulents. Fertilome Succulent Potting Mix is a blend of sphagnum peat moss, perlite, and EcoPeat. EcoPeat is a natural wood fiber from peat bogs. When added to Fertilome peat moss, it produces a superior professional substrate with an exceptional ratio of air porosity and water holding capacity. Fertilome Succulent Potting Mix will ensure maximum drainage with ideal water retention. It's simply the best succulent mix on the market. Ask for Fertilome by name at your local garden center. Available at Daniel's Garden Center, Sumneytown Pike, Harleysville, Pennsylvania. Gasper's Home and Garden, 316 Tanyard Road, Richboro, PA. Green Acres Nursery and Garden Center, West County Line Road, Colmar, Pennsylvania. Urban's Garden Center, Chestnut Street, Emmis, Pennsylvania. Laurel Oak Garden Center, Thompson Mill Road, Marlton, New Jersey. The Bird Sanctuary at Bloomer's Home and Garden Center is dedicated to the care and feeding of wild birds. We carry a flock of feeders like the Brome Squirrel Proof Feeder, which has a lifetime guarantee. Brome makes fantastic feeders for frustrating squirrels and feeding songbirds. Bloomer's Bird Sanctuary has a vast selection of wild bird seed, suet, seed cakes, and mealworms. We carry Lyric, Coles, C&S, Pine Tree Farms, and our own line called Bloomer's Blend. Bloomer's Blend Songbird Magnet contains premium black oil sunflower, peanut splits, millet, safflower, and tree nuts. It's sure to attract the most colorful songbirds to your yard. Bloomer's Home and Garden Center is located in Washington Township in Gloucester County, New Jersey. Visit us online at www.bloomers.com. When you come in, ask for Shirley Spurbeck, Bloomer's Wild Bird Specialist. Mention you heard it on Bloomers in the Garden Radio, and we'll give you $10 off a 20-pound bag of Bloomer's Blend Songbird Magnet Mix. You're listening to Bloomers in the Garden Radio. Listen anytime through your favorite podcast provider or hear us on the radio each weekend. Every Saturday morning, Bloomers in the Garden Radio is heard in Philadelphia and throughout the whole Delaware Valley, first at 8 a.m. on Talk 860 WWDB, and again at 9 a.m. on AM 800 WTMR. On Sunday at 8 a.m., we can be heard through the New York tri-state area on Classic Oldies, 1250 a.m. WMTR. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you in the garden.
Welcome back to Bloomers in the Garden. Well, Len, I love this time of year because gardeners are a specific group, and we love to give gifts to them.
Right.
And especially friends and family who we know are gardeners.
I tell you, I am running low on ambition to get Christmas shopping, and I got to get stuff done. At least there's a themed group. If you know they're a gardener, indoor, outdoor. Let's see. Give me an idea. I've got a sister who is big time gardener.
Right.
If you were to give somebody a gift, what was the first thing? Gardener. What was the first thing you'd think of?
Well, my number one tool is a Hori knife.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you why.
What?
It's a knife. It's serrated on one side.
Knife, or
it's not
I'm
really
sorry.
a knife.
I'm interrupting.
Okay.
Is it a shovel or is it a knife?
It's a knife. It's designed.
So it looks like a knife,
right?
But it's got a pretty thick blade on it.
It's very thick.
So you're not going to cut yourself.
No, you're not.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
And one edge is not like you're not going to cut a piece of paper with it.
Right.
And the other side is serrated.
Okay.
So the beautiful thing about that is that you can dig a hole, and at the same time, get any of the root systems that are around it, whether it's weeds or anything like that. They're going to cut right through that.
I mean, how many times have you been digging and that you're trying, like maybe you're near a Japanese maple or something that's got a fibrous root system, and you're trying to dig a hole for a plant and you can't get through, but that will cut the roots as well.
Yeah.
And it's a hand tool. It's not like a shovel that you step on.
No, it's a hand tool.
And what's it called again?
Hori. Hori.
Hori knife.
It's a Japanese, used tool.
Yep.
And we have some in our garden center. They're handmade. They're kind of beautifully done.
You wear yours around the garden center, and I'm often afraid to talk to you because I'm afraid you're going to whip it out and say, "No, I'm not going to do that today."
That's right. It's a deadly thing.
No, but it's not. It sounds scarier than it looks. It looks like really a hand spade. That's very slender, and you can pop weeds out of the ground. You can do all kinds of things with it. It'll replace probably 10 tools that you have in your garage.
Sure.
That's a great idea, Julio. What else you got?
We had a customer come in the other day, and they bought a Veggie Pod, and I said,
"What's a Veggie Pod?"
This is it's like an above ground. I guess you'd call it.
Raised bed.
Raised bed, yeah. And it's beautiful because, it gives you a lot of opportunities to do things, that you can't do if you're, say, you don't want to go, on the ground.
Bend over?
Bend over, yeah.
I don't want to bend.
Yeah, especially those people who are older like me. And so that's a great opportunity for that,
So a nice raised bed called the Veggie Pod, and different sizes, self-watering.
Oh, yeah.
It is.
It has a top to it, so you don't. The sun goes through it, of course, but
like a fabric to keep insects out. And things.
Insects out. Yeah. Critters.
Very, very good. Very easy to use. It some of them have wheels to where you can move it around a patio or a deck.
Mm.
And right now, ours, I saw the other day, I'm usually going to Sam's Club to grab that bag of like greens. No. Ours at Bloomers, our Veggie Pod is prime and ready to be picked of all of that lettuce.
That's right.
that spring mix lettuce, it's all ready to be harvested. And it could be used, again, if we're going to talk, Harold asked us about lights.
Mm-hmm.
You technically could bring it inside.
Could, yeah.
It could be set up inside. But again, that's a great idea. A little bit more expensive. I like one. Like, if you know somebody that has cats, for instance, I have 2 cats. Okay, I never thought I'd like cats, but I always thought I was a dog person. But I'm growing to like my cats more and more. Mm-hmm. So, but if you have someone that likes cats, you can get a package of seed of cat grass and just a pot with some soil in it, and give that as a gift, an inexpensive, under $10, and just start some cat grass. And the cats need the nutrition, and it aids in their digestion, and where they feed off of cat grass. Like, it's in grocery stores now, where you can buy it in grocery stores. Buy the, where they have the herbs that are growing.
Oh, yeah.
They can buy cat grass.
Wow.
But you don't really need to. It's expensive, and you can grow your own. And just once that goes through its cycle, they just replant. It's not hard, super easy. And it's amazing the cats just automatically seem to know what it is and eat it.
How about that?
They look like cows.
Yeah.
When they're eating, it's like, what are you doing eating grass? When I tried it a couple of years ago, I was amazed.
Right.
I was amazed. They knew exactly what they were supposed to do with it.
That's cool.
Kind of like the litter box. What else you got, Hul?
Another one is, if you're lazy like me.
Oh, yeah, I know that's not true.
Give them a gift card.
Hey, I like that idea. Bloomers Home and Garden.
That's
Get
right.
them a gift card to your favorite garden center.
A lot of gardeners, sometimes you don't know what they like or they need.
It makes a great stocking stuffer.
It does.
No, that's a great idea.
Yeah.
And that you can also kind of make a date of it and say, all right, in springtime we're gonna go and we're gonna go pick out all our flowers, or we can go get a house plant together. That's
pretty cool.
I like that. That's a good idea. Mm-hmm. And some stuff that's simple is just like some starter trays and some seed packs.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that's nice and easy.
Oh, yeah.
That's easy. Heated bird bath.
Oh, that's great. Yeah.
We talked about in our previous segment, we talked about bird seed. More importantly, when things get cold, as birds can't find water, like some of you maybe have seen where birds will be around frozen water and like peck out a little, trying to get some ice out, where if a heated bird bath will prevent that. And birds need water. Birds need water. Don't think that just because it's cold out, that like they'll eat snow and things, but they really need water. So heated bird bath's a great idea for bird lovers.
That is a great idea, yeah. And if you're like me, who goes through a lot of gloves.
Yeah, that's true.
Like a rose gardening glove, that's a great, for people who have a lot of roses, that would be great.
That's right. That's right.
That's cool.
All right. If you've got other suggestions, we've got time. Next week is Christmas. Our show will be airing. Our Philadelphia shows will be airing on Christmas Day.
Wow.
Yeah.
Look at that.
Oh, wow. All right. We'll be right back in the garden right after this. Hi, this is Len Schroeder from Bloomers in the Garden. Do you have a landscape, garden, or plant question? If so, call or text us using the Bloomers in the Garden hotline. Dial 609-685-1880. That's 609-685-1880. Don't be shy. We want to hear from you. Call or text us and let us know what problems you're facing. Let us know how we're doing. Call or text 609-685-1880. If we use your comment on the air, we'll send you a free Bloomers t-shirt. Call or text us at 609-685-1880. That's 609-685-1880. And we'll see you in the garden. Your next houseplant is waiting for you in Bloomers Home and Garden Center's greenhouse. Bloomers recognizes that houseplant choices are as important to your interior decorating as the fabric on your couch. The right plant, paired with the perfect container, can bring a dynamic change to your home. A houseplant brings life to your world and connects your home's interior to the greater outdoors. Even a small succulent placed on your coffee table has a way of connecting your living room to the Amazon rainforest. How about an air plant in your kitchen? Looking for an indoor flowering plant to add color to your plant palette? Bloomers has a large revolving assortment of flowering beauties. From aglaonemas to ZZ plants, Bloomers Greenhouse is stocked with your next favorite indoor plant. Bloomers carries a large selection of pottery and containers to match your home's decor and make any of your plants more beautiful. Bloomers experts can help you care for your plants and have the fertilizer, insecticides, leaf shine, and specialty soils you need to grow healthy and happy indoor plants. Visit Bloomers Home and Garden Center's greenhouse and make every room in your home a living room. Visit bloomers.com for more information. That's bloomers.com, and we'll see you in the garden.
Dreaming of a gorgeous garden? Give your azaleas, rhododendron, blueberries, and evergreens a powerful boost with the #1 acid-loving plant food, Espoma Organic Hollytone. Hollytone is a perfect blend of natural, long-lasting ingredients that nourish plants for stronger roots, faster growth, and bountiful blooms. Plus, it's easy to use and safe for people, pets, and planet. Visit espoma.com for a retailer near you and helpful gardening tips. Espoma, a natural in the garden since 1929.
You're listening to Bloomers in the Garden Radio. Listen anytime through your favorite podcast provider or hear us on the radio each weekend. Every Saturday morning, Bloomers in the Garden Radio is heard in Philadelphia and throughout the whole Delaware Valley, first at 8 a.m. on Talk 860 WWDB and again at 9 a.m. on AM 800 WTMR. On Sunday at 8 a.m., we can be heard through the New York tri-state area on Classic Oldies, 1250 a.m. WMTR. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you in the garden. Welcome back to Bloomers in the Garden. Hey, we got a new guy behind the board, huh?
Oh.
Hey, TJ, welcome.
TJ, yeah.
We can talk about
How's
what
it
a
going?
jerk Brett is later. Anyway, we received a call on the Bloomers in the Garden hotline from Marcia, whose cousin Diana planted subtropical plants in a sub-freezing environment. Ooh, that's not good. Anyway, listen to what she had to say.
Hi, Len. I'm calling to find out, get some advice from you. My cousin Diana in Maryland planted mango tree and avocado in her yard. What can we do to save it during the winter? I know it's a tropical plant. What can we do? What can she do to save it? That's number one question. I am planning to plant the pigeon peas. I did it last year. I sowed it inside in March, and I put it outside in May. But it's just started flowering now in November, and it's still flowering now in December. So I don't think I'll be able to get those peas to heat because the winter may come and kill it. So I would like your advice what time to plant it this year. I'm planning to do it earlier. So I'm looking forward to hear from you, the best advisor concerning plants and gardening. Okay? So have a good day. Wait until hear your advice. All right? Thank you.
Thank you,
Wow,
Marcia.
Marcia.
She's great.
Isn't she great?
Great. Diana, not so good. You know, that we've had 20 degrees already.
Yes, we have.
Now, if they're planted in the ground, okay, mangoes, right, that there's a good chance that they're gone. But they may be just killed to the ground. The roots may be alive, so she may be able to get something. But regardless, they have to be pulled out of the ground and put into a pot and treated like a houseplant. There's not much hope, to be honest. And that what you have to do is treat these subtropical plants. It's just like whether it's citrus or whether it's, like she's doing mangoes or papayas or any of those plants that people want to grow, because, again, it's mostly tropicals, that you need to treat them as a container patio tree. And it can be done.
Yeah.
It'd be done, but, I was thinking about this. I was like, all right, well, the first year, not too hard.
Yeah.
You plant it, it's growing, it looks
Sure.
great. All right, come on, let's bring it in the house. And then you bring it in the house. And the next year, though, now, my sister Deborah, I don't know, Carol, or are you out there listening? They had, back in the 70s, 60s, 70s, they went to Florida. My parents went to Florida, and they brought back a little baby alligator.
Oh, no.
It was cute and all
Yeah.
until they had to keep it in the bathtub and it would hiss at them. And I was like, what do you do with it? And that's how these tropical plants get, where all of a sudden it's like it's too big to bring in the house. And it's like, what do we do with it? And then that's where they grow in the sewers.
Oh, my gosh.
No, that's the alligator.
Yeah.
Anyway, but it's the same type of thing that you got to determine if the work is worthwhile.
Right.
Now, going back to her second part of her question. Her second part of her question were about those, again, the pigeon peas can be grown, but they do better the second year. So another plant to be treated as a house plant during this time of the year. You can let it go dormant. It can be colder, but who's got a spot that's like 50 degrees?
Oh, I know.
Nobody. And so you treat it like a house plant. Put it back outside when the frost-free date is done, which is May 15th in our listening area, and then let it go again. And you'll be able to harvest peas on time as opposed to the way that it was this year. And pigeon peas, they're like a potted pea.
Potted pea, yeah.
It has its origins actually in parts of Africa and
India.
Mideast.
Yep.
You know, and very, very, very healthy. It's a legume, so
Legume,
it is nitrogen fixed soil. It's a very good plant,
it's great.
but it's not hardy. So you've got to do it in a container. And even when it's naturally grown, you're only going to get maybe 3 years out of it because the production stops. So what to do is just figured it's going to be a 2 to 3 year cycle. So do exactly what you did this year, but bring it in the house, let it overwinter, put it back, and that's your harvest is like a second year harvest. So
pretty awesome.
again, but it lowers cholesterol. It is a
great plant.
It is a great plant,
Yeah.
very healthy, very healthy fruit. So do that.
Yeah, it's great.
Hope that helps.
Yeah.
All right.
All right.
If you got questions, Marcy, just call us.
the hotline.
Just
Yeah.
call the hotline.
Yeah.
You know, and be kind to Diana. You know, so but don't help her dig up the plant.
No.
That's going to be a lot of work.
Yes,
That's
it
going to be
is.
a lot of work. So live and learn. All right, we'll be back in the garden right after this. Hi, this is Len Schroeder from Bloomers in the Garden. Do you have a landscape, garden, or plant question? If so, call or text us using the Bloomers in the Garden hotline. Dial 609-685-1880. That's 609-685-1880. Don't be shy. We want to hear from you. Call or text us and let us know what problems you're facing. Let us know how we're doing. Call or text 609-685-1880. If we use your comment on the air, we'll send you a free Bloomers t-shirt. Call or text us at 609-685-1880. That's 609-685-1880. And we'll see you in the garden. You know, some of our most frequent questions revolve around organic container gardening for houseplants, annuals, and of course, vegetables. Coast of Maine's Bar Harbor Blend organic potting soil is a lightweight soil mixture made with salmon, blueberry, lobster, and other composts, as well as calcium and chitin-rich lobster shells, sphagnum peat, perlite, and kelp meal. It is a great soil. And Coast of Maine's Bar Harbor organic potting soil is rich in organic material, creating lush, disease-resistant plants that require less watering, less feeding. Its rich, dark brown color provides the perfect balance between water retention and drainage needed for healthy plants. Coast of Maine's Bar Harbor Blend organic potting soil is available at these local retailers.
Staffers of Kissel Hill Home and Garden Store, Roristown, Pennsylvania. Ashcombe Farm and Greenhouses, Mechanicsburg, Pennsylvania. Pickering Valley Feed and Farm, Exton, Pennsylvania. Dreaming of a gorgeous garden? Give your azaleas, rhododendron, blueberries, and evergreens a powerful boost with the #1 acid-loving plant food, Espoma Organic Hollytone. Hollytone is a perfect blend of natural, long-lasting ingredients that nourish plants for stronger roots, faster growth, and bountiful blooms. Plus, it's easy to use and safe for people, pets, and planet. Visit espoma.com for a retailer near you and helpful gardening tips. Espoma, a natural in the garden since 1929.
You're listening to Bloomers in the Garden Radio. Listen anytime through your favorite podcast provider or hear us on the radio each weekend. Every Saturday morning, Bloomers in the Garden Radio is heard in Philadelphia and throughout the whole Delaware Valley, first at 8 a.m. on Talk 860 WWDB and again at 9 a.m. on AM 800 WTMR. On Sunday at 8 a.m., we can be heard through the New York tri-state area on Classic Oldies, 1250 a.m. WMTR. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you in the garden.
Come back to Bloomers in the Garden. Our good friend Harold from Staten Island called the hotline and asked us about plant lighting. Listen to what he had to say.
Hi, Len and Julio. Harold Kozak, Staten Island. I wanted to ask you guys' opinion. When I grow my carnivorous plants, during the winter time, usually they have reduced sunlight, so they go into a dormancy. I have a friend of mine that I didn't realize he was growing these carnivorous plants, and he uses an LED light, and he said he keeps them going all year long, and he said he finds that they're in great condition. So I just wanted to know your opinion. You think I should get an LED light and just keep these things going all year long and not hibernate, or let them hibernate the way they naturally do? And one final thought, one of my Venus flytraps sends up a beautiful white flower. I mean, gorgeous white flower. And, people may not realize that these plants are actually angiosperms or flowering plants. Anyway, let me know what your opinion is. Thanks a lot, and see you in the garden.
Harold,
my friend.
Happy holidays, Harold.
Yep.
Look, the last part of your question influences whether you do the lights. Your Venus flytrap is flowering because of its natural light cycle, that if you're going to put lights on it, you may screw that up and you may not ever have that flower. So going dormant is part of the plant's life cycle. That being said, if you do decide to do it, LED lights are the way to go. First of all, less energy, no heat, and a wider spectrum of light. So if you're going to do it, go ahead. Use LED. Again, Julio and on the way here, we're talking about how LEDs have a selection of spectrums that you can use depending on what you're trying to light. Now, that being said, the plant naturally goes dormant. So do you want that? Do you want to disrupt that? And I don't see any reason why it should hurt. But again, it's like artificially keeping your plant going all the time. Going dormant, what the plant's supposed to do. I'm a naturalist that way, and I just sometimes think only if you needed it for production or another reason. I don't know. I would consider getting a timer, and that way so that it will. You won't have it on 24/7, but you'll have it on so that this light period is extended to mimic optimum growing opportunities, and wink, wink, depending on what your crop is. Anyway, that being said, also I want my son's, he has his own Venus flytrap that is also doing the same thing. It's also flowering, and he has an LED light. So, but he just got it. So it's not something, what's it going to be like in a month from now? Right. So give that some thought, but definitely LED is absolutely the way to go. That's it. Anything to add, Julio?
No, I think, it's an experiment. He has to kind of know what he needs to do or how he wants it to function.
Absolutely. All right, we're up against another break. We'll be right back right after this.